As I walked down the aisle, my mother-in-law hissed, "You'll regret wearing that dress." She smiled like she won until my bridesmaid hit play on a video that exposed her lies. I never imagined that my wedding day would become a battleground. Growing up in the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia, I always dreamed of a simple, elegant ceremony surrounded by loved ones. When I met Michael, a kind-hearted software engineer from Savannah, I felt like my dreams were coming true. His mother, Patricia, seemed pleasant at first, always offering to help with wedding plans. But as the big day approached, her true colors began to show. Patricia insisted on being involved in every aspect of the wedding. She criticized my choice of venue, the menu, and even the color scheme. But the biggest issue arose when I chose my wedding dress, a vintage-inspired lace gown that I fell in love with instantly. Patricia was livid. She claimed it was too revealing and not traditional enough. I stood my ground, but I could sense her resentment brewing. 2 weeks before the wedding, I discovered that my dress had been tampered with. The delicate lace was torn, and there were mysterious stains on the fabric. I was devastated. The bridal shop confirmed that someone had tried to alter the dress without authorization. I had my suspicions, but without proof, I couldn't confront Patricia. Thankfully, my bridesmaid, Lisa, had a plan. Lisa suggested we install a small camera in the bridal suite, just in case. I agreed, hoping it would deter any further sabotage. On the day of the wedding, as I walked down the aisle, Patricia leaned in and whispered, "You'll regret wearing that dress." She smiled smugly, believing she had won. But as we reached the altar, Lisa signaled the DJ, who paused the music. The screen behind us lit up, playing footage of Patricia sneaking into the bridal suite and tampering with my dress. Gasps echoed through the crowd. Patricia's face turned pale as the evidence played out for everyone to see. She tried to defend herself, but the damage was done. Michael was furious and demanded she leave immediately. The rest of the ceremony proceeded without further incident, and I finally felt a sense of peace. In the days that followed, Patricia tried to apologize, but trust had been broken. Michael and I decided to distance ourselves from her toxicity. It's been a year since that unforgettable day. Michael and I are stronger than ever, and we've learned the importance of setting boundaries. While the experience was traumatic, it taught us to stand up for ourselves and protect our happiness. Sometimes, the most unexpected challenges reveal the true nature of those around us. After Patricia was escorted out, people tried to act normal. Some whispered behind hands. Others stared at Michael and me like they were watching a soap opera unfold in real time. I didn't cry. Not because I wasn't hurt, but because I was angry, boiling, silent, steady kind of angry. The reception went on. We cut the cake. We danced. I smiled through clenched teeth. Michael kept apologizing, but I told him it wasn't his fault. I wanted to believe that. Still, a part of me kept thinking, he's known her his whole life. How did he not see it? The next morning, we flew to Charleston for a short honeymoon. We needed space to think and to breathe. But the drama didn't stop. When we landed, I turned my phone back on. It lit up with texts, missed calls, and voice messages. All from Patricia. Some were tearful. Some were furious. She even sent me a 3-minute voice memo where she claimed I set her up to humiliate her on purpose. Then came the post. Michael's cousin sent us a screenshot. Patricia had made a Facebook post tagging family members, saying I edited the video to frame her and that I had a mental condition I was hiding from Michael. She said I was controlling, that I isolated Michael from his family, and that I was dangerous. And people were believing her. I stared at the screen for a long time. My heart didn't pound. It sank. Deep, like dropping to the bottom of a cold pool with no air. I didn't want to go back home. I didn't want to pretend everything would go back to normal. Because it wouldn't. We stayed in Charleston longer than planned. Lisa checked on our apartment back in Atlanta. That's when she found the second shock. The lock was broken. Nothing was stolen, but the place was ransacked. Drawers dumped out. Photo frames cracked. My wedding dress, the one I wore, was slashed and burned in the bathtub. And on the wall, written in red lipstick, were the words, "You were warned." We didn't have cameras in the apartment, but the neighbor across the hall had a Ring doorbell cam. When police checked the footage, it showed Patricia standing outside our door the night before. The police said it wasn't enough to arrest her. No clear footage of her actually entering. But Michael had to file a restraining order. And I stayed up that night shaking, thinking about how far she was willing to go. Back in Atlanta, everything changed. We moved. Changed our numbers. We cut off most of Michael's extended family, who still believed Patricia's version of events. His uncle even messaged me calling me a homewrecker. Michael started going to therapy to process what he called losing the mother he thought he had. I felt sorry for him, but also cold inside. I didn't trust easily anymore, not even him sometimes. Then one day, Lisa texted me a photo. A real estate flyer. Patricia was selling her house. A week later, a neighbor told us she had vanished. Left in the middle of the night. Took off without a word. Then I got the package. No return address. Inside was a thumb drive and a note that said, "You want the truth so bad? Here it is." What was on that drive changed everything again. It wasn't just about me anymore. It was about Michael. About his late father. About a secret that made my skin crawl. The wedding wasn't the beginning. It was the middle of a very long, very dark story. And I was now stuck in it deeper than I ever wanted to be. Michael sat beside me on the couch, arms crossed, lips tight. The screen blinked on just a folder labeled Truth. Inside, there were dozens of video files. Some were old, grainy clips from the 90s. Others were newer. One was from 2 months ago, time-stamped just before our engagement party. I opened that one first. It was security footage from Patricia's house. The angle looked like it came from a hidden camera. In it, Patricia sat on the phone, pacing. Her voice came through clearly. "I told him his father died in a car crash. If he ever finds out what really happened, he'll leave me too." Michael froze. He whispered, "She always said Dad fell asleep at the wheel." The next clip was worse. It was from the garage of that same house. There was Patricia, screaming at a man, someone older, disheveled, with a thick beard and a limp. The video didn't have sound, but the man kept pointing at a photo of Michael. Patricia shoved him. He didn't fight back. She grabbed a keychain from the wall and locked a door behind him. Michael stood up and said, "That's my dad." I paused the video. "What?" "I think that's him. Older. But that looks like him. I haven't seen him since I was 10. She said he was dead. That funeral, it was closed casket. Everything felt warped. My stomach twisted. Michael walked to the sink, hands shaking, and threw up. We watched another file. This time, it was Patricia sitting in her living room, filming herself. "This is insurance," she said into the camera. "If anyone finds this, just know I did what I had to. He wanted to take Michael. I couldn't let that happen. He was mine." The next few days were chaos. We took the footage to the police. They were skeptical at first, but when we matched timestamps with known dates and got statements from a few old neighbors, things started clicking. Turns out, Patricia had faked the death. She told everyone her husband died, had a staged memorial, forged paperwork. But he'd been alive, kept locked away in a workshop behind the house for years. Not always, but enough. Some neighbors remembered hearing someone in the back, but Patricia told them it was a tenant with mental illness. The cops found the place empty. The man in the video was gone. They brought in dogs, checked hospitals, even posted notices in shelters. No sign of him. Then Michael got a call. From a payphone in South Carolina. A man said, "Son," and then the line went dead. Michael cried for the first time since our wedding. I just sat there, numb, wondering what kind of person I had married into. That wasn't even the end of it. 2 weeks later, we got another package. Same type. No return address. Inside, a single photo of Patricia, standing at a pier, next to a woman who looked just like her, but younger. The back of the photo was marked, "You're not the only one she lied to." There was also a birth certificate. For a baby girl. Mother, Patricia N.D. Father, unknown. No name for the child. Just a stamp. Adopted. Sealed record. Michael had never heard of a sister. We were sitting on a mess of lies, family secrets, possible crimes, and a missing person. And somehow, I had walked right into it by marrying the guy who knew none of it. But now it wasn't just about survival. It was about the truth. And we were going to find it no matter what it took. We drove down to South Carolina the next day. No real plan. Just chasing shadows. Michael called every hospital in Charleston, then Columbia, even small clinics. Nothing. I posted a photo of his dad online, pretending we were looking for a missing veteran. No hits. A week passed. Then the letter came. It was slipped under our hotel room door. No postage, no envelope. Just a folded paper with a note written in sharp, spidery handwriting. "You were looking in the wrong state." She kept me near the water. The place with the pink church. We Googled it. There was only one famous pink church nearby, the Pink Church in Bluffton, South Carolina. It wasn't much, but it was something. So we drove. Bluffton was quiet, too quiet for what we were walking into. We pulled into town just before sunset. Michael walked around the church, asking old shopkeepers if they recognized his dad. Most said no. One old man leaned in and whispered, "Try the docks. Sometimes you see him down by the shrimp boats. Looks like a ghost." We ran to the docks. And there he was. Sitting on a crate, tossing crumbs to seagulls, was the man from the video. The beard was shorter, but the limp was the same. When he looked up and saw Michael, he stood, fast like his body moved before his mind could stop it. "Michael?" His voice cracked. Michael didn't say anything. He just walked forward and hugged the man. I stood back, watching. The wind off the bay made me cold, but I didn't care. I was frozen anyway. They talked for hours. I didn't catch all of it, but I heard pieces about how he tried to get custody, how Patricia set him up for domestic abuse he didn't commit, how she used money and charm to convince everyone he was unstable. Then she told everyone he died. She even held a fake burial. He was too scared to come forward after that. He thought no one would believe him. That was her talent. Lying so well it became truth. We took him back with us. Got a lawyer. Filed reports. Michael gave interviews. The media picked it up. A man declared dead reappearing after 20 years? That kind of story spreads fast. Patricia saw it too. She sent one last email. "You ruined everything. I gave you the perfect life and you chose that broken man over me. I should have ended this before it got this far." The police issued a warrant. They found her at a small motel in Tennessee. She didn't go quietly. Tried to smash her phone, burn some papers, even threatened the cops with a pair of scissors. They brought her back in cuffs. But the real trial came later. And not in court. Michael met his sister. Yeah, she was real. Her name was June. Raised by a foster family in North Carolina. Turns out Patricia had her when she was 17 and gave her up. But then she tracked her down when she was 30 and started feeding her lies. Told her she was her real daughter and that Michael wasn't even hers by blood. That he was adopted. That she had taken him from someone else. DNA tests proved Patricia was lying again. Michael was hers. So was June. But she tried to pit them against each other. June cried when she found out the truth. She said she always felt like something was wrong, but could never put a name to it. She'd cut Patricia off a year before the wedding, but never said anything, thinking it wasn't her place. We told her it was. June and Michael got close. They leaned on each other through the mess. We all did. But here's where it got hard again. The press died down. People stopped caring. But the damage stayed. Michael changed. He wasn't the same. He started drinking more. Got short-tempered. Therapy helped, but only a little. He said, she took everything from me. My childhood. My trust. My family. I tried to be there for him. For a while, I was. But it wore me down. One night, he came home drunk and threw a bottle across the room. Said I was just like her for always bringing up the past. I didn't speak to him for days. Then he left. Just like that. Packed a bag and went to stay with June. We separated quietly. No big fights. Just the slow death of something that had too many cracks from the beginning. Now here's the part one haven't told anyone. The drive? The packages? The video? Those didn't come from Patricia. They came from me. I found the footage on an old backup drive at Patricia's house when we were cleaning it out a year before the wedding. I watched it all and sat on it. I told Lisa. We planned everything. I wanted people to know who Patricia really was. I wanted to break her. I wanted revenge before I even walked down the aisle. So when I saw her sneak into the bridal suite, I left the camera running. I baited her with the dress, knowing she wouldn't be able to resist. I let her ruin it. Then I exposed her. On purpose. I mailed the footage to myself. I sent the packages. I wrote the note about the pink church after I hired a private investigator who found out where Michael's dad might be. I pulled every string. But now I live alone. In an apartment that smells like dust. I drink cheap wine and scroll through old messages that Michael doesn't reply to. Sometimes revenge feels good. And sometimes it eats everything you wanted to protect.